I think everybody's been affected by cancer, unfortunately, in one way or another. So it's just been a really important one to tell and get right.
It's storylines like this that actually allow us to get like the message out to the public.
The conversations, they can be uncomfortable, but that's the way we get through to each other, and that's how we make people understand.
Hello, my name is Alex Fletcher. I play Diane Hutchinson on Hollyoaks, and this is my lovely friend and co-star, Jess Fox.
Hello. Today we are being joined by some very special guests. We have Marie-Claire, who is from Ovarian Cancer Action, also Natasha and Jess, who are real-life survivors of ovarian cancer.
And as you might be aware, my character, Diane Hutchinson, has been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. But today, we're going to be chatting to these lovely ladies who have generously offered to share their very personal stories and how they've overcome it all. Well, thank you so much for coming today and joining us at Hollyoaks. We hope you feel very welcome. This is Jess, who you've met. She's been my little sidekick the whole way through the storyline, which you have all very kindly said that you will share your personal stories with us about ovarian cancer. But first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about yourselves?
My name's Jess and I am 33 and I live near Bristol in the southwest.
I'm Natasha, I'm 23. I was hospitalised on my 22nd birthday, which is when my cancer was found. And I rearranged my surgery to go to the Taylor Swift concert.
Yes. I'm Marie-Claire. I work for the charity Ovarian Cancer Action. We've had the privilege of working with you on the storyline. I'm the Director of Research here at Ovarian Cancer Action.
Well, lovely to meet you all, and thank you so much for sharing all this with us today, because we couldn't have done the storyline without your input and whatnot, could we, Jess?
Absolutely. It's so invaluable to hear like real life stories.
Yeah.
And that means as well, then we can take your experiences, put them on screen, and then other people will see themselves in those stories as well, which is why something like this is so important to raise awareness.
Yeah.
So Jess, do you want to tell us about your experience of being diagnosed and what happened?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed in 2018, at the end of 2018, and I didn't really have any symptoms. I had some cysts on my ovaries when I was pregnant, the year before, and then after my pregnancy went into hospital with some pain and had a large cyst removed, which wasn't cancerous and was fine. And then a year later went in again with some more cysts. I became very good at growing cysts, and had that one removed, and then that one was cancerous. So found out just before Christmas in 2018, sort of went through Christmas not really knowing we didn't know, we knew that was cancerous, but we didn't know if it spread or anything. And then had some more scans, and then had a hysterectomy in February 2019, and then had some chemotherapy after that, which finished around the August time. So it took sort of nearly a year to go through the whole process for being diagnosed.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. And I think even when you finish treatment, it still takes a long time after that to get on with feeling sort of like you finished the treatment fully as well. Yeah.
And Natasha, you were 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Is that unusual for someone your age to be diagnosed?
Yes and no. The specific type of ovarian cancer I had is germ cell, which germ cell cancers are much more common in younger people. But I'd been having symptoms for over 12 months. I'd been going to my doctors average once a month with symptoms, and it was always, we think it's your endometriosis playing up, which is where tissue similar to the endometrioma grows elsewhere. I'd had surgeries for that previously, so I was comfortable knowing what that felt like. And I knew that it wasn't that. And it got to a point where I was hospitalised in the March of 24. But that January, I'd kind of started to think like, this really isn't right. And I did what everyone does but shouldn't, and started Googling my symptoms. And it was like textbook ovarian cancer. I had bloating, I had fatigue. I was really strangely had really bad acid reflux to the point it was 24 hours a day. I was trying to sleep sitting up, anything and everything. But I ended up in hospital on my birthday because I had severe right-sided abdominal pain. I was told that it was a urine infection, a kidney infection. And I was like, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not that. And they scanned me and they found a 22 centimetre tumour And then they scanned me a few weeks later and found that I also had a 14 centimetre cyst. So I'd got a lot going on.
It just took a long time for people to take you seriously.
Yeah, so I've had 2 surgeries, one which removed my tumour, which I lost my ovary with, and then one earlier last year to take the cyst out, but they didn't like the look of it, so I lost that ovary as well.
Right.
Luckily that one wasn't cancerous, but the ovary was gone at that point, so it made no difference really.
God, sounds both your journeys are so grueling.
People tend to think about ovarian cancer as a sort of disease that affects older women, but actually like 20% of cases are in women under 50. That's over 1,000 a year. So it's so great to have both Jess and Natasha telling their story, because it really like raises awareness of that.
It's not one we talk about a lot. And like I know from doing the storyline sort of some of the symptoms to look out for, like, you know, bloating, pain. What are some other ones that someone might want to look out for that maybe aren't as common? Or
So we've got bloating and needing to go to the loo more often. That's mainly just going for a wee more often. And feeling full really quickly, or sort of loss of appetite, like you sort of don't really want to eat food. And then abdominal pain, that can feel like stomach pain or back pain. Some women feel very fatigued as well. So those are the main signs to look out for. And what we say is they've got to be sort of frequent and persistent. And we really try and empower women to sort of take that to their GP and be really strong about, like, this isn't normal for me.
Put yourself first.
Exactly.
And that's really hard, isn't it?
With it,
Because I feel like so many women I know go to the GP and get, you know, fobbed off. And that sort of, you know, gender negligence is really an issue. And is that something that's been very prevalent with ovarian cancer for people getting diagnosed?
Yeah, we see that all the time, that women are misdiagnosed with things like IBS or menopausal symptoms. And, you know, we know that IBS actually, it's really rare that it occurs like later on in life. So women who are sort of a bit older and then they're suddenly being told they've got IBS, like that's not right. Same with menopausal symptoms. It's just, it's sort of being fobbed off, as you say, like, and we kind of try and tell women, you know, through like messaging like this, that if you know something's not right in your body, then you can definitely take that to your GP.
What would you be asking for?
What we really want GPs to do is rule it out. And so the way they would do that is to have a CA125 blood test or to have an ultrasound. And you should be asking your GP to refer you for both of those things. We have all that information on the Ovarian Cancer Action website. We have a symptoms checker tool where women can sort of do an interactive questionnaire to find out if they should be going to the GP, if their symptoms are concerning. And we give you all the information to be able to take to the GP and hand it over. It's got all the tests that you should ask for and all the right questions to ask too. But yeah, sometimes you do have to just be a bit strong in yourself and sort of know that you're not going to get fobbed off because, you know, it shouldn't be this way. But often it is the ones who kind of speak the loudest and sort of are really like strong about, no, this isn't right for me. I do want those tests. They're the ones that then go on to get a quicker diagnosis.
And that's really hard. I think that's in life a lot of the time. Squeaky gate does get the grease, and it's hard to advocate for yourself. It's much easier to do it for someone else, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just feel like you feel like you shouldn't have to do it. And unfortunately, that's not the reality that we're living in at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So, Jess, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how did your family and friends react to the news?
Yeah, I think it was really hard. I think I had to go. I didn't realise I was going to an oncology appointment when I found out I had cancer. I thought I was just going for a checkup after my surgery because I didn't know it was cancerous till they'd removed the cyst.
Right,
So I had to sort of go home and tell that news, which was really difficult. But I think it was hard. Like I think everyone was very brave for me. So it's quite difficult because I think you don't want to impact everyone else's life because everyone's life is still carrying on. But for my mum, I think just everything went on hold. Like when I was recovering, she just moved us in and looked after us. And I think that was like cancelled holidays and things that I tried to stop her from doing, but she just did. And because it's mum, isn't it? And I think that support was invaluable, really. I think for me to have the support was invaluable, but then I had friends who would just come and got a really close group of friends, and they just come and pick up my daughter and take her out for the day.
Yeah.
So then I could be looked after at home, but she was also having fun.
You knew she was.
Yeah. And I think
time.
I think it was really hard for them all. Like, it was obviously really emotional telling them all, and everyone got really upset, but then we just got on with it. And I think you just have to. And my best friend came to all my chemo sessions, and she would just take a day off work and take me, and it was so lovely. And actually, it sounds like it's going to be really rubbish coming to chemo, but we'd go and get a coffee on the way, and then I'd be sat in the chair for about 6 hours having my infusion, but we'd take all this stuff with us, like to read like magazines, and we just talk the whole time.
Yeah.
So because I didn't really feel unwell till I got home, so actually we had sort of 6
Some
hours
real bonds
together
and times,
chatting.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
So I think for them, yeah, it was hard, but yeah, we had it. Everyone was really supportive and was just there, and in different ways as well, which was really nice.
For me, it was a bit weird because I didn't have an appointment where someone sat me down and said, "You've got cancer." I'd obviously been hospitalised. I was told categorically that it was a cyst. I didn't need to worry, but I still thought in the back of my mind, it's not adding up. And I was at that point, I'd had to kind of not fully move home, but I was still at home with my parents. But everyone was out, and I was in the shower, and my phone started ringing, and I just thought, I'll answer that. And it was a doctor, and he said, I'm referring you to gynecological oncology. And he put the phone down. So that was my like official kind of things are moving in that direction. And I just remember I got out the shower. I was like, I don't want to call my parents and tell them to come home. I know they're on the way home, but what do? I'd cried a lot in that shower.
Yeah.
And I phoned my boyfriend, who was also at work, and I was like, I need you to come to mine. And then I told him, and then I told my parents, and my mum threw up because she was like so shocked. And I think for people to know, because I'd been struggling for so long, for me it was a weird relief after the initial shock that I'm heading in the right direction now. But for everyone else, it was, what is going on? This is someone that seemed healthy, typical uni student, but, and then all of a sudden, my life just completely turned upside down. My friends didn't know what to say. And I think that's a really common thing where people are brave for you, but equally it would kind of, I would feel awkward if they weren't at the same time, because I wouldn't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I sat down with my friends last week, and, we had a conversation, and one of them got quite upset, and she was like, I just feel like I could have been there for you more. And I said, I never, ever felt like that. No. If I felt like that and I needed you guys more, I would have always said. And so I think, like I said, for me, it was weird because I'd kind of come to that conclusion on my own. And for everyone else, it was just this big shock and having to get on with life. And then I had to move back home, and I wasn't even allowed to lift a box, which I'm not complaining about. And I still do pull it sometimes. So I'm like, it's a bit heavy. But yeah, it was just a weird experience.
It sounds like you both had really good support networks, though, which I think must have been so important.
What was the recovery like now then? How are you feeling now? After being through all that?
Yeah, so it's obviously been a lot longer for me than I guess it has for you since having the surgery. I think initially it was really hard, getting past having the chemo, and I had I think I had about 6 operations in about 2 or 3 years altogether, with sort of cyst removals, biopsies. I had a hernia afterwards from the surgery, so all of that had quite an impact. And then went into menopause because of the surgery. So I think now I'm a long way from having the impacts of the chemo and things like that, but now it's menopause. So it's not, I think
a day off, have you?
No. So the cancer's quite far behind me now.
Good.
But, and I'm managing menopause, but I'll be managing that for a long time. So I think it's just dealing with that now. So it doesn't really end necessarily when the sort of cancer treatment ends.
Yeah, and for me, I didn't have chemo. I just had my surgeries, and I had about 10 months between the two. And for me, life during that period was a bit weird because I'd started to really want to live my life, and I'd graduated uni. I started my first full-time job, but I still had this looming knowing that I still needed another surgery. And then after that one, same day, straight into menopause because I'd got no ovaries. and I had to wait for the biopsies to come back because they didn't want to give me hormones in case it can cause more tumours. And so those 2 weeks where I was just completely unmedicated was genuinely awful. I felt terrible. But now I'm sort of the same where I'm just trying to manage my hormones, and it's taken a lot of figuring it out because especially at such a young age, it's quite hard to predict where your hormones need to be and what works for you. Obviously, everybody's different. So it's all about kind of management, and health anxiety is kind of crazy now where every like stomach pain, I'm like, oh God, is something back? But I've just got a lot of scar tissue. That's something that I'm obviously prone to. You're good at growing cysts. I'm good at growing scar tissue. So it's just kind of managing like your daily expectations in what you're able to do in your life now, and that looks different to how it did before.
So is there ongoing support with that, with like the hormone stuff? And like,
I saw a menopause clinic in Bristol. It took a long time. I think I waited about a year and a half to see them, but in that time was having like HRT to help. But there wasn't really much else that could be offered. So I really just get prescribed HRT now, and that has been tricky, I think, because I'm prescribed a really high dose because of my age, but it's above the recommended dose, so it can be hard to get that sometimes. So I think if I hadn't had that support, I would have probably had to look at private options and try and see if there was something there. But there isn't a huge amount of support, I don't think, with the menopause side of it once you finish the therapy. And I don't have those check-ins now around the cancer because I'm about 7 years down the line.
And how important is it that we raise all this awareness?
Yeah, it's storylines like this that actually allow us to get like the message out to the public, because you might know someone who's going through these things, and like it's so important, isn't it? Like for women to kind of be together and like be raising awareness with their friends and with their family and loved ones, and it just enables you to like collectively. Yeah.
And support.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You felt supported, I hope so.
Did both of you like know much about ovarian cancer before you started filming the storyline?
I didn't at all.
I didn't
at
know.
all.
Me
No.
neither.
So it's been good for us as well to learn about it, and
It's been quite organic. We've relied a lot, obviously, on the research
from you guys,
yourselves and scripts. I mean, you've been so honest and open. I had a family member who's just rung the bell. So that was, you know, I was going through a lot with my family, kind of supporting him. So I was just trying to bring a little bit of that kind of to the character, I suppose. Because he told me to. He said I could. Yeah. He was like, no, use it, you know, but then he just kept saying, you know, it's looking positive. And but yeah, they were really difficult, especially filming with the little Aubrey. She plays my daughter. She's only 6. You know, we had to get those scenes right to make sure, you know, what we could say to her and when her mum was okay with the script and everything.
And you told Nancy while you're doing a downward facing dog.
I did.
Yeah, in a yoga class.
And we weren't sure that was going to work, were we?
So, yeah. So, yeah.
So I think, it's been a roller coaster, and I know we've been doing this since January, haven't we? I just hope we've done a good job, and I hope we raise all the awareness that, you know, it deserves.
Yeah, obviously we've been working with you on the scripts, and like, it's been so fantastic to know that, you know, we can feed back and say, well, this isn't quite how someone would experience this. And the Hollyoaks team have been so good at sort of making changes and making sure that Diane's story is like really as close to reflecting. Obviously there's soaps, but close to real as possible.
It hasn't felt like that. It's
felt very raw.
It felt like a real mini like a drama. Like it's felt. And I think as well, like a lot of the crew, I think everybody's been affected by cancer, unfortunately, in one way or another. And it's kind of, you've felt that, haven't you, on set? It's been, so it's just been a really important one to tell and get right.
And that's why it's so important to work with people like you guys when we do these like issue-led storylines.
You guys brought it to life, so thank you so much.
What are your hopes for the future?
You want to go?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you want to do? Where do you want to go?
I think when I stopped treatment and that was sort of over, I'd not worked in that time. I tried to go into work, but I just couldn't. It was too much. So I was off work, and we sort of moved into my parents for a bit so they could look after my daughter and help with that, because I wasn't really able to do a lot of that. And she was only about 1.5, I think, at the time. So she was quite little. But when that finished, it was almost like once I'd had like maybe 6 months of being like, right, okay, I'm sort of building my strength up again and feeling a bit more normal. I made loads of changes, and I think I quit my job. We moved house. I changed lots of things like with relationships and things in my life. And actually,
what's important.
and you do notice, I think, a bit more. It's such a cliche, but I think you do.
Yeah.
So I think from then I made lots of positive changes, and that's just continuing that. So like I've just been able to focus on like my career and family and all those things. And it's just making the most of things. I think I'm a lot more grateful for things now. Like all the little moments feel a bit more special. And just, making the most of it, really.
Yeah.
It's most important.
Yeah, and I think for me as well, you know, my life's moved very quickly. I've bought a house. I've got a dog with my partner, and it's just life is good, I guess. And it's keeping on, going on, and going to your appointments or managing things to be yourself.
Well, you guys are a lot deeper than I am, because I'd have been like, I just want to go to Peru or somewhere like that. So,
but I think that's the thing, is like, that's what I was going to say, is that I've kind of stopped doing things that I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because what's the point?
To quote Al, she said in an interview, life isn't a rehearsal. You only get one.
True.
So true.
I think that is very true.
So true.
And you guys are
it's so
absolutely,
true.
doing that.
Actually, that's really like my hope for the future, is that because as a charity, we mostly fund research into sort of trying to prevent the disease or detect it earlier and treat it better. But we have some amazing research going on at the moment to try and develop a preventative vaccine.
Oh, wow.
And obviously we've seen how amazing that's been for cervical cancer with the HPV jab. But that is a really common misconception, that people think when they think about gynae cancer, they think it's all the same. But actually there are 5 different gynae cancers. And ovarian cancer is the most deadly of them all. But people go for their smear test and they think, oh, that's me, fine for everything. But there isn't a screening tool for ovarian cancer. And that's part of the reason why we have to fund more research.
And obviously, you know, Al's doing an amazing job of spreading awareness, and Hollyoaks is as well, by doing this storyline. Is there anything else we can be doing?
Just, it doesn't have to be a scary thing. You don't have to whisper it.
Yeah.
The conversations, they can be uncomfortable, but that's the way we get through to each other, and that's how we make people understand. So if it takes you having an uncomfortable conversation, good, because they've walked away and they've learned something, and they'll think about it.
Yeah.
And that information will get spread around.
Yeah. Gynae cancer used to be such a taboo, and like the more it's talked about, and you know, on things like Hollyoaks or in conversations that you have with friends and family, that taboo like melts away. So it is so important to just talk about it.
So if people are watching this, what do you want them to take away from our conversation today?
I think just having that awareness, like not, I think as you've said, like listening to your body, isn't it? Just knowing if something doesn't feel right, trying to advocate for yourself and be confident in that.
You need to be your biggest advocate, like especially I know it's always, if it's not normal for you, get it checked, but don't let it become your new normal either.
Yeah.
Don't think, oh, I'm sure this is okay, I'll just
be
get
all
on
right.
with it. Yeah.
Well, what can I say? It's been genuinely lovely to meet you all, and thanks for being so open and honest about all your journeys, and thanks for being so involved with the storyline.
And if you want any help and support with any of the issues we've raised today, you can find it at channel4.com/support-Hollyoaks.
Well done.
Thanks.
And thank you so much for watching.